I do want to get the autobiographical version of your life, just for the people out there who've seen all these random clips of you. Can you break it down from the beginning of, like, you know, how you ended up moving to the O, and like where were you born initially, and talking about your younger days?
I was born in Detroit, Michigan. Man.
Okay.
Detroit, Michigan, and you know, I moved to Chicago when I was 7. And before I moved to Chicago when I was 7, man, I experienced a lot of things you would have never thought of 7. I mean, you know, we hear certain stories, but like sexual abuse, my uncles and my grandmothers, they always on heroin. We used to get beat. I'm talking about crazy stories that I can, you know, recite, but that should have happened. It'll be so long.
Right.
It'll be very long. Like, nigga, we have to 4 hours talking about it, bro, because it's so long. But every little thing that happened, now hindsight, I'm older, getting all this understanding from the love of God, and now I'm able to see all the things he brought me through. But man, from Detroit, I moved from Detroit to Chicago when I was 7, and I told you, I seen one of my grandmothers get killed. Her husband killed her.
Right in front of you?
Right in front of me, my other cousins, and the crazy thing was, he just brought her in from the hospital. Both of her arms was broke, and then he broke both of her legs. And so he brought her in from the hospital, man. And my grandmother, she was she giving all of us hugs, and she gave me a hug. And in my spirit, I'm a kid. I can remember it to this day. My grandma get a hug, give me a hug, and then my spirit say she about to die. The granddad, he literally, with the wheelchair, throw her down in the basement. Boom. He's down there killing her. But my uncles, they down there, and my uncle hear my grandmama screaming. What they do, they turn the music up, because this they daddy. And they turn the music up. And so I had that, but you a kid, you know, we kind of was playing, and obviously it hit me more now because it was traumatizing, but when you a kid, you don't know how
Trying to avoid it?
Yeah, you don't know, you don't really understand what's going on.
Did she have broken arms because of him as well?
Yes.
And then she gets home from the hospital, and he begins just assaulting her again and breaks her legs. But
breaks her legs.
Was it?
No, wait. He broke her legs and arms, and when he brought her in from the hospital, both were already broken. And so this is when he killed her.
I know you're young, but was there any kind of like rhyme or reason to this, or was it just straight up
drugs?
Like
I would think, man. Drugs,
okay.
You know, drugs open you up spiritually. Drugs open you up spiritually, man.
What do you mean by that? Drugs make you worse spiritually, I would think, right?
Yeah, they make you, because if we fighting spiritual war, and they already can add thoughts on your heart, once you hit something and now your mind is altered, it's easily for them to speak something into your heart and for you to believe it's you. You ever had moments where you just sitting back, you just chilling, and then a thought pop into your head, but you was already watching something. You can't think two things at once. You start talking to yourself like, what? Do this? Do what? Like, who do we talk? You kind of understand what I'm saying? Like a thought will pop into your head while actually already doing. And so where did the thought come from? I know that I've had some times where I'm you feel me, might be praying, and then it's like, man, a image of porn or something to pop in. And who would that be if I'm praying to God right now? Who would that be trying to add this thought onto my heart? This is the war that we fight. It's spiritual. That they can talk to you. You don't see them, so you don't think that you're actually communicating with spiritual demons because you can't see it.
So I'm assuming the cops came when
he
she
called
died?
The cops.
He called the cops after he killed her?
After he killed her.
And what, he tries to make up a story?
No. He called the cops. He did his 10 years.
Wow. 10 years, that's it?
He did his 10 years. He's out right now.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
And do you have memories of the cops like trying to interrogate you and ask you what happened?
They didn't try to interrogate us. I remember when they came in, they flashed the lights on us. Me, my cousin, we was in the bed. We was just all in the bed, and then they came in, they flashed the lights, they took him out. They said absolutely nothing to us. But, they removed the body, and, he went to jail. And man, I moved with because my uncles, man, they used to beat my ass.
Really?
And I was like 5, 6, and they used to, I believe it had to be the drugs.
Yeah.
If you already an angry person and you mix that with drugs, you gonna kill somebody.
Right.
Cause that's what drugs are for, is to allow for you to open yourself up. Man, everything that's here, that's in this world, that pleases the body in some sort, it kills the body.
Yeah.
That's the enemy. And he wants you to be so focused on the things that feel good, but you don't know you're killing yourself why you steady doing this?
Uh-huh.
And that's the spiritual war that we fight, man. But, so I moved away from there and I moved to my dad's mom's house. And then my grandmother that was there, it was only a couple months, she died.
What was the situation there?
She just died. I think she had, I don't remember exactly what it was, but bad health.
Okay.
My grandma was kind of heavy set and stuff like that. So I think she died from like bad health, from eating habits and, stuff like that, man. And my auntie, like she already had 3 kids. Her mom just died. She don't know her father. And I was bad, bro. I was bad as hell. And I was bad because I wasn't just a kid who was a kid. I was a kid who I understood things. Mm-hmm. Like one of the things that I remember, like, and don't think I'm on no weird stuff, like I'm weird towards my auntie, but I remember being a kid and my auntie was changing and she took off her bra. And her daughter, one of my cousins, was like, man, Mama Doo-Boo right there. That's like my nickname, from where I'm from. She Doo-Boo right there. And he a kid, he don't know what's going on. But I'm in my head like, I know what's going on until you got some big titties. That's exactly what I repeated to myself, like being honest, because I'm like, you don't think I know what's going on? I got eyes.
Right.
But obviously not all kids, had that understanding.
Right.
And so, because, man, when I moved to Chicago, I was 8. I was out on the block hanging with niggas 13, 14 when I moved to Chicago.
But you moved straight to O Block?
We moved to a place that was like on the west side.
Okay.
And then I moved to O Block like after a few months from there.
And when you moved to O Block, did you have any idea that it wasn't a famous place at the time, right? It was just normal to you? This is just a regular ass place to live?
Yeah, it was, and this was before O Block was even thought of.
Right.
We was called Wick City then.
Right.
Wild, Insane, Crazy, that's the name.
Right.
And so, yeah, man, I moved to the block and I stayed on the church end.
Okay, yeah, I've been to the church.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You did go down that way. Yeah.
Because that was a powerful thing to realize, like, just to walk into that environment and see these like little kids that are like trying to get some food at the food pantry and stuff. That's where I met Shoebox Baby.
Yeah,
Shoebox. He was sitting there eating a pizza puff.
I remember when he moved on the block. He moved next door to me. He lived so when you go into the second part, I lived to the left. Shoebox, when they moved to the right. But you know how the buildings is. You saw how they was and whatnot. But yeah, it's poverty. And that's what poverty look like, man. When you go into those areas, man, that's what poverty look like.
But did it strike you at that time that there was like a sense of community there that wasn't necessarily around in the other places that you had lived before that?
I really, when you a kid, you don't really be thinking much about it. But all I do remember when I first moved on the block, living on the church end, they used to chase the dudes who used to stay on the church end. Bro, them, and I ended up being with them after I moved. But they used to be chasing them back down. I had a few friends in the fourth part, and they used to be chasing them all the way back down. Them niggas running home, they throwing eggs and shit, so I kind of was scared to go down there. Because I'm like, man, they chasing them there. They don't know me. I go down there, they definitely gonna do me, beat me up or whatnot. And so, when I moved down on that end, I was probably 9. I moved to the second part. And then, everything just happened naturally. When you first come out, if people don't know you, they gonna try to try you. Fortunately, I ain't really had nobody try to try me when I was a kid, but like when you start getting older, then it's gonna be fights. You got a bunch of young men. You got we going through our whatever the
puberty. You got
shit.
testosterone flooding into your body on a level that you never felt before. And when I think about, I didn't understand that when I was a kid, but when I think back to the way that everything changed when I hit 12, 13, 14, that testosterone hitting your body. And then I see it too with adults when I watch a dude get on steroids and how different their behavior is and how their body changes. And I'm like, oh, so that was what was happening to us when we were 12 or 13. And of course we start fighting and, you start trying to have sex. You start trying to just everything changes in your life after that.
Hey,